Thank you for staying. In our first story, Joy News investigations have revealed how a company linked to the Deputy Sanitation Minister, Amidu Isahaku Chinia, and registered in the names of his brother, cousin, and personal driver won government contracts at the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council during his tenure as Deputy Regional Minister. The Batuwisi Company Limited was set up in 2017, barely a month after his appointment, and in the same year won a 2.6 million Ghana cedi planting for food and jobs contract. They were again awarded a 12.6 million Ghana cedi road contract in 2019 by the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council. My colleague Kwete Nate has the full details in our latest documentary airing later this evening on Joy News at 8:30 p.m. Here is an excerpt of what to expect.
A 12 million cedi road contract assigned to a company owned by close associates of a minister in the Akufo-Addo government.
There will be conflict of interest. Once it's your brother or even any close associate, you have interest. You want the success of the person.
After 3 years, the road construction works have not been completed.
First, like if they even leave the road the first way, it was even better than now. Now there is very bad.
Another 2.6 million cedis planting for food and jobs contract allotted to the same company.
The ministry has taken the necessary steps to engage the then Deputy Regional Minister how to structure the payment, so it is being done.
The GRA tax audit of the company reveals interesting details. Caught in conflict.
Caught in Conflict airs on this channel later tonight at 8:30 p.m. Make a date. In the meantime, the Director of Programs at the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Mary Ada, has been sharing some perspectives on this development.
All indication, this is not new, and this will not be new. In fact, it will be surprising if we say it is the first occurrence of it. No. And judging from the past 2 years or thereabouts on a similar instance, even though this was at a higher level, I believe such cases abound. These are true, and there have been a lot more issues when it comes to perceptions of public officers holding interest in other companies. And in the past, this resulted in the call from civil society and other bodies to ensure that in the Companies Act, the revised one and now the new one, we have issues around beneficial ownership being incorporated. We are the better for it because it's now giving us the opportunity to then be able to not speak from a perception point of view, but to go to the Registrar General to acquire some of this information to determine how some of these things happen. It is a good thing that now we have a freedom of information law as well that is assisting journalists and civil society and all persons interested in acquiring information on the dealings of public office holders. And again, let me quickly say that it is not for anything that the Constitution clearly specifies in Article 284 that a public officer holding office should ensure that the performance of his duty does not conflict with that of his personal interests.
Now, in our very next story, victims of an alleged police brutality in the Mamprugu, Madhuri district of the Northeast region are pleading for assistance for treatment. The victims include a 40-year-old farmer, Razak Ibrahim, who is said to have suffered severe injury to his waist and eye, demanding urgent medical care. They were said to have been assaulted last week when armed security personnel invaded their communities, arresting over 20 others over the death of a suspected robber. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko has more in this report.
On the 9th of June 18th at about 2 a.m., as members of this small community were asleep in their rooms, over 200 armed military and police personnel sneaked into the district and descended on them without any warning. One after the other, according to the accounts of the residents, the armed security personnel created a blockade around the community to prevent them from fleeing before knocking at every door and arresting almost every male adult in the community. The operation, which the residents describe as violent and chaotic, ended with the arrest of 25 people, including a minor. This man, Saibu Yakubu, said to be among those arrested during the security invasion, presented these huge stakes as evidence that the security personnel had assaulted them during the operation. These are the canes they used to beat us before arresting us. I didn't know why we were being arrested until I got to Nalirgu, where they accused us of killing a Fulani and secretly burying him. I denied knowing anything about the allegations. They insisted and referred me to a robbery attack that they said occurred at the fuel station over there. I told them I was in Tamale on that day. This was what I gave them. However, what the security personnel did to us was horrible. The whole village was horrified that some women had miscarriages and children fled into the bush. We are still looking for some, and our brother Razak was brutally assaulted. Sources in the community have shown that not only were the residents painfully arrested, but the security personnel also carried out violence against some of them, leading to severe injuries. One of the victims, who claimed that he was attacked by over 20 officers, said he has suffered injuries to his waist and sides. The victim, Razak, can now barely stand on his feet after the alleged police brutality. He recounts his ordeal by firstly denying any involvement in the death of the suspected robber. I heard screams coming from the direction of a senior brother. The noise was unusual, so I decided to go to his rescue. I picked up my shirt and asked my wife to stay indoors. Before I could step out of their room, they accosted me and started to punch me. Soon, they kicked me to the ground and continued to beat me mercilessly. Can you see what they did to my eyes? They used the butt of the guns to repeatedly hit my face and attempted to break my neck. With swollen and reddish eyes, he is now being assisted to sit up from his lying position. I have pains all over my body, particularly in my waist, my neck, and my knees. He is now appealing for immediate assistance for treatment while calling for justice. What I have to say is an appeal for assistance for treatment. I have no other source of livelihood apart from farming, but with this condition, I wouldn't be able to provide for my family unless I get treatment. The Regional Police Command is yet to comment on the operation, but according to the Regional Minister, it was in connection with the death of a Burkinabe national killed in a boat robbery attack on the 20th of last month in the area. The residents, however, insist that the deceased individual was part of a 4-member gang who had attacked and stolen an amount of 15,000 Ghana cedis from this fuel station. The police have since released 21 of those arrested, with the remaining 4 still in custody, including a final year student of Yagaba Senior High School. His father is appealing to the police to release him and also to the regional authorities to come to the support of the victims of the brutality. We are not animals living in this community. Why must we die because a Fulani has been killed? And they brought over 11 vehicles full of police and soldiers to invade us, and there's no authority to speak up on our behalf. Because we do not have a president, no minister, not even our MP or DC, we appeal to them to come to our aid. My son was not around when the incident happened, yet he was arrested and is still being kept death in Mamprugu. It's a final year student and appeals to them to release him to continue his education. Elias Sutanko reporting for Joy News.
Well, from the Mamprugu Madhuri district, let's come back to Accra. And lawyers for the Ghana Police Service have been ordered by an Accra High Court to justify why it should stop pressure group Arise Ghana from staging a protest tomorrow. This order was issued after the court dismissed the second request by the Ghana Police Service to adjourn the case. The court earlier gave the police up to 11:30 a.m. to study documents filed by the group. Now, the police, as at 11:30 a.m., urged the court once again to adjourn the matter, saying they required more time. Justice Comfort Tasiame turned down the request, saying fairness is not only the preserve of the police, but a right the protesters are equally entitled to. Court correspondent Joseph Akakpo joins us currently on this matter. Joseph, thank you for connecting. What is the latest since this order was issued?
The latest is that shortly after the order was issued, the lawyers for the Ghana Police Service, represented by DSP Sylvester Sari, proceeded to move the motion. And effectively, he said they were relying on the documents that are filed. And the concern they have is that effective policing cannot take place if the demonstration is allowed to go beyond 3 p.m., which is the intention of the protesters. And so he concluded his submissions and urged the courts to restrain the protest from going on tomorrow. Ndiji Tamaklo, who represents Arise Ghana, is currently on his feet. And so far, in terms of the point canvassed, so far he makes the point that the Ghana Police Service has no right under law to determine what time the protest should take place. He makes reference to the famous case of the MPP versus IGP, where he notes that the court did indicate that the police service, in terms of its issuance of permits and timelines of when demonstrations should take place, is a colonial relic that should not be allowed to stand. And so he says the court is being invited by the lawyers for the police service to determine the timeline for a protest to take place, which is contrary to the Public Order Act. So if they have any concerns and substantive, they should be asking the court to return to the protest entirely and not to be asking the court to return the protest beyond 3 p.m. A power that they argue that under the Public Order Act, the court does not have. And so he's urging the courts, as they have spoken so far, to dismiss this particular request and allow the protest to take place tomorrow.
So this basically means that Arise Ghana, that grouping, can go ahead with the planned demonstration for tomorrow?
Depends on what the ruling will be. And once Edith Samako represents Arise Ghana concludes his submission, the police service will have a short minute or two to rebut any of the points canvassed so far, after which we expect the judge to deliver her ruling on what should happen going forward.
Joseph Akakpo there, bringing us the latest on that development. Thank you, Joseph. Now, NAPCO trainees are calling on government to honor the payment of their allowances, which have been in arrears for 8 months. They are questioning the government's intention of launching a similar program when NAPCO is in shambles right now. According to them, it doesn't send the right signal when government has not paid NAPCO trainees but is readying itself to launch the U-Start program. Joining us on Zoom for more on this is the president of the NAPCO Trainees Association of Ghana, Dennis Opoku Katechie. Dennis, thank you for joining the conversation. Why, in the first place, are you seemingly attacking the U-Start program when government has not indicated it is replacing NAPCO?
All right. Thank you so much, my brother. And then let me extend my warm greetings to your cherished viewers and listeners.
Right. I would appreciate it if you could speak up a little for me. I can barely hear you.
Yes, I was extending my greetings to your cherished listeners and viewers.
Right.
And then once again, on behalf of the NAPCO trainees who are still on the scheme, our regards to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, our able, humble CEO, Dr. Ibrahim Anyas, our regional NAPCO coordinators, our regional NAPCO monitors and district coordinators. We are not attacking the U-Start. Personally, I have really welcomed the initiative U-Start. I mean, a program that should furnish the youth. And then support us financially to establish our own businesses, manage our own businesses and be our own boss, and even get the opportunity to employ our fellow Ghanaians and pay them, which would automatically reduce the unemployment rate. That has become the national security threat. So we are not attacking it. But our issue is that we have followed the directives from the government through the NAPCO Secretariat to remain at post pending permanent arrangement, which some of us have been at post from last year, November till now, 8 good months, and we have not been paid. But we have come out countless number to appeal to the government to pay us because of the hardship and the sentiment and the frustrations, but to no avail. We are very aware of this laudable initiative called YouStart, which the government is preparing to launch it. And of course, we are coming out to voice out again to tell the government that he shouldn't launch the YouStart whilst NAPCO trainees of about 67,000 are on the scheme and having been paid for about 8 months.
But Okateche, that exactly is the point. There has been no allusion to the fact that YouStart is going to wipe off NAPCO. So why the step that you are taking? Why come out and even suggest this?
Yes, we are not talking about YouStart coming up to wipe totally NAPCO. We are not saying that, but we are after our arrears. Why? Because imagine that your radio station or your TV station, you are not being paid for about 8 good months, and then management will sit down and then plan of establishing another branch at a different place, and then we'll invite you guys or we'll tell you that please come and help us, let's be together and go and launch this. I don't think you workers there will be happy whilst you have an outstanding arrears of 8 months. This is our issue. And of course, looking at the whole thing, you of course, put yourself in our shoes. Coming to work all the time and then for 8 good months you are not being paid. Looking at the hardship in the country, the economy, the increase in the goods and services, petroleum here and there, and 8 good months we are not being paid. That is where we are coming from. We are all aware that this COVID-19 that has brought this hardship globally, Ghana, we are not exception. So definitely we are all affected. But the issue is that for 8 good months, 67,000 NAPCO graduates or trainees are not paid. This is a national security threat, and of course, we cannot hold it again. In fact, life has become very unbearable. Imagine, some of us, we are married with kids. We pay light bill, we pay water bill, and then within these 8 months, I have a lot of my colleagues who are calling me and asking, Katechi, when are they going to pay us? My rent is over, I have to renew my rent. A lot of people are getting sick. They can't even get money to go to hospital. In fact, we lack some basic responsibilities, which, of course, it has become very hard for we NAPCO trainees. And for that matter, we are coming out again to appeal to the government to pay our 8 months arrears before the YouStart scheme is launched. That is our humble appeal. And this is not the first time we have come out with our press release. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. This is about 3 to 4 good times, which, of course, we are not happy about the silence of the government and the authorities not saying anything about our arrears. And, of course, the Secretariat is very aware that NAPCO trainees are still at post. You go to the various schools, you will see NAPCO trainees who are massively supporting, permanent staff teaching. And, of course, the Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education is aware. When you go to, what institution should I even mention? Almost every institution in Ghana, being public or private institution, you can get some NAPCO trainees that it will even be difficult for you to identify NAPCO trainees and permanent staff. Why? Because we are all working to add our quota to build this our mother Ghana. And of course, if 8 good months we are not being paid, that is very unfair and very unexpected of this government.
Right.
Nobody is saying that the scheme has not come to help. The NAPCO scheme is laudable. It has really come to help. Through this scheme, we have a lot of colleagues who have been made permanent at our various agencies. But we still have chunk of numbers, 67,000. It's not an easy number that we are talking about. And we are starving. Imagine. So please, with all due respect, we are not attacking the YouStart. It's a good initiative, all right. The aim is to reduce the unemployment rate, right? So if the YouStart is to reduce the unemployment rate and we have 67,000 graduates in NAPCO who are not paid for 8 good months, then, I mean, it's very questionable, which, of course, before we can all do our support.
Moving the conversation forward, I believe that horse has been flogged already. Which institutions did you send these letters to? And to conclude the conversation, what next for you? What are you going to do? What's the next step you're going to take?
Yes, if I'm talking about the institution that we've sent this, what do you call it, our appeal, that is why I was saying that this is not the first time. We have had some talk with some of the authorities, and what they keep on telling us is that we are supposed to exercise patience. They are doing everything possible to make sure they resolve all our issues. But the whole thing is that for 8 good months, what issues can't be resolved within this period? And of course, while they tell us...
So Kateshie, what's the next step?
Our next step, what we are thinking is that if the government is not willing to pay us before he launches the USTAT, then what we can do is that while the government is launching the USTAT at the right corner of Ghana, we would also be speaking to Ghanaians at the left corner of Ghana. I mean, we cannot take the law into our hands, so we are not going to, project anything bad, but what the law says we can do, we can do, that we are going to do. And of course, we wouldn't be happy for the government to go ahead and launch USTAT whilst we have 67,000 NAPCO trainees, 8 months not paid their allowance. I mean, the government is able to pay salaries. How much more allowances? Even if it is a general hardship, at least the 8 months is too.
Thank you, Dennis, for giving us details of that. Dennis Kateshie, of course, president of the NAPCO Trainees Association of Ghana. Now, in our next story, to promote the efficient use of electricity and also highlight the importance of renewable energy, the Energy Commission, in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service, has begun empowering senior high school students through a renewable energy and climate change competition to develop products that can potentially solve related issues in the energy sector. The development of societal needed projects is also to encourage students to be more practical and move away from the phenomenon of chew, pour, pass, and forget. Correspondent Natalia Kwanta has the rest of the story.
The Ghana Secondary Technical School, GSTS, will this year represent the Western region in the upcoming zonal competition of the Energy Commission's Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge. The school, which emerged winner of the regional competition with 84 points, competed with other second cycle institutions in the region, including the Archbishop Porter Girls, Ahansman Girls, Mpoho Senior High School, Adiambra Senior High School, Takwa Senior High School, Shama Senior High School, Hafasini, and the St. John's Senior High School. The competition, which is the third in a series organized in collaboration with the Energy Commission, saw students displaying various developed projects in the area of either clean cooking or food processing related to the use of renewable energy technologies. Project coordinator for the Energy Commission is Julius Nkansa Nyako.
After the zonals of the competition, the best 6 projects will be taken on board by CSIR Ghana, who would help the students to develop it further. They've established a research hub for such talents, and then we would link these schools to them. They will take them through various research techniques to develop their projects. What the commission envisages is that after improving upon these projects that we've seen here, they will be commercialized. That's bring them onto the market after it's been fully developed. And we also believe that by commercializing them, value will be added, and then also money would be made.
The Municipal Director of Education at the Fia Kwesimentim Municipal Assembly, Catherine Andomensa, commended the Energy Commission for partnering the GES to make the project a reality. She says the initiative is appropriate as it will challenge students to research more, be innovative, and think critically to resolve issues in their localities regarding energy.
This program has come at the opportune time when nations and communities are searching for the best alternative means and efficient use of energy which are cost-effective and environmentally friendly. It has come at a time when the Ministry of Education and Ghana Education Service are thinking of making teaching and learning practical-based so that learners will be fully filled with core competencies as prescribed in the new curriculum for pre-tertiary education in Ghana.
The lead competitor for the GSTS, Kingsley Kwesi Mensah, expressed appreciation to God for helping them win the competition. He promised to bring the trophy to the Western region.
We pray to God that if He lets us win, we're going to give thanks to Him. And so if we have won, our first and foremost appreciation and our biggest appreciation is to our God, creator of the universe. As our judges gave comments about whatever we did, we're going to take them into consideration and then work towards it and then finish everything that we need to incorporate into our system. And then hopefully God is going to grant us victory.
For Joy News, in Athalia Kwanza, Western Region.
Let's talk sickle cell disease now. And Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says that hydroxyurea, a medication used to fight sickle cell, will be placed on the National Health Insurance Scheme to ease the financial burden on persons living with sickle cell. Dr. Bawumia was speaking at a memorial service held in honor of Professor Emeritus Dr. Kweku Ohenefrimpong, a renowned sickle cell disease specialist.
I saw in him a man who has really had this passion. Of course, later on, we became much closer. I got to understand that his own son had contracted, the disease, sickle cell, and he really devoted himself to trying to find a cure, worked so hard. Of course, he's a professor emeritus, so he dedicated his research work in this area. One of his major issues in the area of sickle cell had to do with the making of hydroxyurea available to sickle cell sufferers. Now, this is one of the most important medicines that has come through the fight for sickle cell cures. I mean, this medicine has proven very effective, but it's extremely expensive. So when we met with Novartis, Novartis had offered to provide this medicine, and they have provided it over the last couple of years, free of charge in Ghana. And so Professor Ohenefrimpong's concern for a lot of the children, because for him, the earlier we detected sickle cell, of course, the quicker it would be. So he wanted screening for all children. So as the agreement with Novartis to provide hydroxyurea free was coming to an end, he increasingly was pushing us to make sure that the National Health Insurance Scheme would cover hydroxyurea for our children. And, we have continued to meet with it, and I am happy to say that the new, and in fact, the old CEO, Dr. Lydia Selby, and the new CEO for NHIS, Dr. Okoboy, have made the commitment, and government in his memory was going to adopt hydroxyurea under the National Health Insurance Scheme for sickle cell sufferers.
Let's talk about safety on our roads now. And motorists plying a road leading to the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council are calling on the authorities to prune overgrown weeds creeping onto the road. Drivers say it has become dangerous negotiating the sharp curve on the road located in the Danyame residential area, as portions of it are covered in weeds. Pedestrians and motorists who ply the stretch say it is risky using the route, especially at night. Love FM's Emmanuel Bright Kweku interacted with some road users and filed this report.
Weeds along the sharp curve have crept onto the road, narrowing the already slender route. Drivers who ply the stretch describe the area as a breeding ground of fatal road accidents. Ejamenu, a commercial driver, recounts a near rear-on collision with an oncoming vehicle. It was raining, and because we usually use bright lights during such times, I nearly crashed into an oncoming vehicle because I couldn't see it coming. The stretch joins the main route to the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council and the Presidential Residency from Dinyame. Commercial drivers in the residential area tell Love News it's precarious negotiating the bend at night, especially for persons who are unacquainted of the road. It's scary using the road at night, especially for weeder drivers. Because of the bush, it's really dangerous using the road. This guardrail that is meant to protect pedestrians that ply the stretch, and also as an indication for oncoming vehicles that this is a sharp curve, is now covered in weeds. It makes it difficult for drivers who use this stretch to go to the other side, and even those coming from the other end to know whether they are directly inside the curve. The speed ramp signage engulfed in the bush is not only elusive to drivers, but its complementary structure, meant to slow down speeding vehicles, has lost its navigation to the road. The section covered by weeds, we are told, was demarcated for construction of a pedestrian walkway. But pedestrians have to alternatively use the more perilous side of the road. We have no space to walk by the road unless we walk inside of the road.
A car nearly knocked me down whilst I was walking. When the car is coming, it is very difficult for you to give way for the car to pass.
The stretch leading to Golden Tulip Hotel from the Regional Lands Commission office is no different. So you can imagine the difficulty pedestrians and drivers have to endure during the night using the stretch. Until the weeds along the roads are pruned, they could potentially cost a life. For Joy News, Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
And on the back of that, we take a breather and return with business. Stay.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. According to a recent research by the Ghana Enterprises Agency, most micro, small and medium-sized firms in Ghana are reluctant to formalize their operations because of taxes. Associate Professor of Economics at the University of Ghana, Professor Ebutexin, indicates that this is impeding the activities of MSMEs, with only 15% of them collaborating with banks to grow their businesses and 13% applying for loans. Here's more.
The baseline research will assist the Ghana Enterprise Agency in developing policies that are supported by facts and will have an influence on the sector of micro, small and medium-sized businesses. The report states that majority of micro, small and medium-sized businesses engage in agro-processing. Professor Ebutexin contends that these small enterprises lack technical innovation and low rate of technological adoption.
So the key highlights are the following. One, most firms are informal. Most firms are not innovative. Most firms are micro, small-sized. Most firms also have low foreign technological adoption. Most firms do not export, but we have a high proportion of these firms employing skilled labor. In fact, about 50% of the labor force that we find in the micro and small enterprises are skilled labor force, which also means that our micro, small, medium enterprises have the capacity to adopt technology because they have skilled labor manpower. And so it's important that if they are not adopting foreign technology to expand their businesses, they are supported to do so.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer for the Ghana Enterprises Agency, Kosi Yankee Aye, indicated that her outfit will continue to engage and sensitize small businesses across the country.
I think that businesses are not formalized not only because of taxation, but for comfort. And I think that one of the things we need to address is really for them to understand what formalization is about. If you're worried about growing your business and building a better future for you and your family in some instances, then that's a challenge. And the reason why I say that is a challenge is that when you ask the businesses what their major challenges are, they say access to finance. Now, if access to finance is a challenge for you, why is that a challenge? It's because your businesses are not formalized. And what I mean, or what everyone means by formalization, that they don't have the right documentation. They're not keeping the right books. So if you're not keeping the right documentation or the right books, which bank will open their doors for you? The banks won't open your doors. Which institution will talk to you? No one will talk to you. Even when they open their doors and they ask you, what do your books look like? You don't have any data. So as much as possible, the formalization is needed if we're going to address the challenges of access to finance. Now you talk about access to markets. Who wants to work with a business that they don't even know where it exists or if it's actually going to provide the tools and the services it needs? So formalization is key. So you build stronger relationships.
Now, Chief Executive Officer of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, Akakpo, says the best way to cure age-old poverty is to have pension schemes that also cover the informal sector, which constitutes a majority of the Ghanaian populace. Speaking at a breakfast with the CEO program in Sunyani in the Bono region, Mr. Akakpo also said workers must go beyond pension contributions and equally be interested in their pension providers to ensure an early resolution of challenges. Precious Semevo has more.
The National Pensions Regulatory Authority, established by the National Pensions Act 2008, regulates and monitors the operations of the three-tier pension scheme and ensures the effective administration of all pensions in Ghana. Breakfast with the CEO program in Sunyani in the Bono region by the authority brought together some industry players and formal and informal sector workers to engage in accessible pensions for all. It was also a platform for the CEO of NPRA, Akakpo, to respond to some concerns of stakeholders, such as the illiquidity issues of Senate.
Because their investments were locked into the real estate, it would take some time to restructure their portfolio. So currently, yes, we do have some problems as far as the illiquidity of the assets are, but we are now giving them some time to restructure their portfolio to ensure that they are more liquid. If SNIT collapses, it will be the Ghana government that will have to pay it because the Ghana government is the underwriter. So as regulators, we will not sit back and allow SNIT to collapse or lock all their assets into real estate and therefore don't have enough money to be paying benefits. I think every month, SNIT is paying benefits to the tune of about 250 million Ghana cedis. So that is a lot that has to go out, and therefore SNIT needs the liquidity to be able to continue to pay benefits, plus indexation that they add to every year, about 10% on average. So they need the liquidity, and therefore their investments will have to be spread across all the investable areas.
Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Akakpo said 80% of the population are in the informal sector, and it is important to have them covered by the schemes to help cure old age poverty.
Sometimes there's a misconception and a perception that pension is only for the formal sector workers, but it's for the informal sector, and basically for every Ghanaian from the age of 15 who earns any form of income to be able to participate so that when they retire one day, they can have a retirement income security. Because before the new pension system came into effect, it was only the formal sector workers, and there was the old age poverty, which was, affecting the informal sector workers mostly because majority of our people in Ghana are in the informal sector. So if you want to cure old age poverty, the best way to tackle it is to make sure that pension is covered in the informal sector.
He advised pension contributors to be interested in the providers of their schemes.
It is a household name, so for Tier 1, it becomes very easy to sell the idea about the Tier 1 pensions. When it comes to the Tier 2, because it is the private sector providers, and there are about 30 corporate trustees. And therefore, it is important for workers to understand that it is not only the contribution, but also knowing who is the provider and getting statements from your provider, and also getting any complaints that you may have resolved by your provider. And if they are not able to, then you can resort to MPRA for any advice.
Precious Semevo, Joy Business, Sunyani.
And that's business for now. There's more coming up on the marketplace. Up next, sports.
Time now for sports on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Goals from Caleb Amankwa and Daniel Efriye were enough for Accra House of Oak as they came from behind to defeat Bechemi United in the final of the FA Cup. Despite lifting the trophy for the second time, head coach of the Phobians, Samuel Budi, described their season as a failure. There's more in this report. That's your sports for now, but we do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. We'll also be back at 2 p.m. with sports today. The news continues right after this.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News today. Now, the much anticipated 10:30 album concert took place at the Back-to-Back Lounge at the weekend with hundreds of Miss V fans in attendance. The event saw some performances from industry players such as Becca, Efia, Stonebwoy, and others, coupled with some goodwill messages.
We're so grateful that she kept going and she's fought a good fight, and we're so proud of her, and we believe that she can only go higher. We want 10 more years from her. And we can't wait to see what she does next. We're so proud of her.
I was listening to it in the car. It's a good masterpiece. It's not easy for the women in the industry. Neither is it easy for the men, but I think the women face a lot more challenges, even in the media space, not only as artists, generally. So she has been through it. She has been through it. And I know that all the periods, I have been there. I have been there as a brother. I will be the one to say, yo, what? You don't want to do it anymore? Lie. So all these years, why would you just want to hang your boot for nothing? The people know you, the people love you, you have a mark. She can attest to what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, it's extraordinary. And I say it, and you might take it lightly, but I'm telling you, the challenges that you go through, the highs, the lows, the hustle that you go through in the industry in the first place is crazy. But as a female person, as a female artist in the industry, it makes it even harder and even tougher. So I think she's done a good job. For you to sustain, to be consistent, to release hit upon hit for 10 years, I'm telling you, I respect her for it 100%. And I told her earlier when I said, you know what, there's nowhere in this world that I'd rather be than here to support you. Because I know what it is like to be in your shoes, to be in a position where sometimes you leave a record label and you don't even know if you're going to survive. So for you to do it and be confident, and she produced this herself. She's the producer for this show. If you don't know, yes, she is. I spoke to her about it, and I am absolutely proud of Miss V.
I think that she's the representation of resilience, determination, focus, and I think that 10 years is actually a new decade, and that's when you have the chance to rebirth and do new things as an artist, because then you have experience, you have confidence, you have industry network, and so I think that Miss B is about to really take off, and I'm super proud of her as an industry colleague, and also knowing the challenges that women face in this space where it's a male-dominated field.
Not Miss V, not just the anniversary time. Or you'll be or Brandon wants. She loves. She loves to be around people and listen to advice. Anything she calls me, we talk. So I think not that because I'm here, but because the type of songs she writes. I always say that write songs that will grow, and when you die, the song will still live.
She's evolved. And for me, I would put my name on this album, and this is not a marketing conversation. I'm being very honest with you. I'll put my name on this album any day, anytime.
Good. I actually did this at first invitation only, and then I started seeing on social media most of my fans wanted to come to, and I thought, you know what, why don't I just mix up the crowd a little bit and see what happens? And I'm really excited about the turnout.
So you see how much love she has for you guys? Yeah. You put force there to do what she didn't want to do.
No, it's what I want. You know, in the end of this year, I'm supposed to do like an actual like huge concert, a free concert. So I thought that was when, you know, I would invite the whole, you know, TMV nation, you know. But I mean, they were eager to come to this one, so I just had to make it happen.
Congratulations to Ms. V on that album. Ben?
10:30, right?
Yeah, 10:30.
10:30. Yeah. How many songs are on the album?
10.
10 tracks on that album. Well, Ms. V always delivers. And that is how...
You should go out and stream the album. Yeah.
I see.
That's what I wanted to tell
Well, that's what you're here for.
Yes.
I'll just see you for all the filler. Well, Ms. V out with that latest, and that's how we cap it off on Joy News today with Benjamin Akakpo and, of course, Becky right here. Do stay with us for the rest of our programming on Joy News. Have a good day.